My name is Amy Miller. I'm a 32-year-old who has been married for 7 years. My husband is a kind and hardworking man, and we've had a trouble-free life together. I only took maternity leave and have continued working ever since. We're what you'd call a dual-income family. Even before we had a child, my husband Owen was involved in parenting, and after becoming a dad, he helped even more with daycare drop-offs and household chores. I always thought I was more blessed than most wives out there. Then our child turned 6 and was about to start elementary school. I began to notice something wrong with my husband's health. "Why don't you go to the doctor?" But he didn't go because he was too busy with work. By the time he was willing to go, he was diagnosed with end-stage renal failure and needed a kidney transplant. His strength declined gradually, and as he became unable to work, he was forced to retire, and he couldn't even take care of our child properly anymore. As a result, everything fell on my shoulders, and I was spinning with the busyness of work, house chores, childcare, and taking care of my husband. My husband would whisper "I'm sorry" in a weak voice, which was heartbreaking, and I pushed myself even harder. But no matter how hard I tried, the mind and body are separate, and my body started to scream in pain. That's when my mother-in-law brought up the idea of living together. "It's too much for you to handle alone, isn't it?" Indeed, I felt I was nearing my limit. My mother-in-law lost my father-in-law soon after we got married and has been living alone ever since. She must feel lonely, but she never complains, and whenever I visit her, she greets me with joy. I can't even begin to express my gratitude to my mother-in-law, who gets along with me so well, it's like we're friends. Tears flowed from the sheer difficulty of it all when she offered to move in. Living with my mother-in-law turned out to be a blessing beyond what I had imagined. While I was out working during the day, she would take care of the housework and the kids. My first grader daughter didn't feel lonely, thanks to her. Snacks were always homemade, and my mother-in-law would help her with her homework. She tended to my husband as well, encouraging him to do what he could on his own, but it seemed she often had to step in because he easily grew tired. When I got home, I would take over, but since I could do things faster than my husband could help, I often let him rest. Maybe that was my mistake, because gradually he stopped doing anything at all. "I'm just feeling really sluggish." Unaware that it was just an excuse from my husband, I accepted it all, thinking he was ill. But it seemed like he believed that if he said so, he wouldn't have to do anything. As he did less and less, he began to look for distractions outside the home. While searching for a donor, my husband started going for dialysis 3 times a week. At first, during his 3 weekly hospital visits, he apparently went to the arcade and roamed around various places. He seemed apologetic each time, but he must have believed that my words, "That's great. You have enough energy to go to the arcade," meant that I was okay with him playing around. This way, he increasingly turned his attention outward, and before I knew it, he left everything to my mother-in-law and did as he pleased when he felt well. "I can't blame him, he's sick after all," I kept telling myself. No matter how tough it got, even when I was too exhausted to move, I kept telling myself, "I'm still okay, I can do this." Then one day, we got the call from the hospital they had found a donor. And it turned out that the donor was me. "Please, Amy, give me your kidney." Upon learning that I could be a donor, my husband begged me on his knees. I was delighted at the thought of my beloved husband getting better. But if I stopped working, our family would quickly be in dire straits. There were risks involved with the kidney removal surgery, I was told by the doctors. Was it really okay for me to be the donor? But if it makes him well again? I'm his wife, after all. With that excuse, I went through with the surgery. My husband cried with joy, thinking he'd get better. "No more dialysis after this. Once the surgery's over, I'll be back to my old self." Not a single word of thanks was there for me. The surgery was a success. After a few days in the hospital, I went back to work. However, I had naively underestimated the risks the doctor had mentioned. I thought it couldn't happen to me. But even before my husband was discharged, a growing fatigue began to assault my body. "What's this?" I couldn't afford to be anxious. Why is so much of my hair falling out? Every morning, clumps of hair would come out as I brushed. Fear began to consume me. By the time my husband was discharged, my fear had turned into something much greater, but I had no time to think about myself. You should help out with the housework as part of your rehabilitation, my mother-in-law would say, but Owen was as if carried by the wind, always out playing. Instead of helping, he would look at me and say, "What's that on your head? It's disgusting," mocking my thinning hair. And then one day, he threw his last words at me. "I'm divorcing you, you sick bald woman. I'm starting a new life." I was stunned by his words. "What do you mean?" Just back from work and still in my clothes, I was so shocked I couldn't stand. "What about your mother?" "That's right, I have to tell her about such important matters." "What are you talking about? This is a matter between husband and wife. It's got nothing to do with Mom." "But she's helped us so much." "You might have been saved, but I don't care. Anyway, I'm divorcing you." Why all of a sudden?" My head was spinning. I just needed my mother-in-law. I thought she could calmly analyze the situation. But as soon as I got home, she had gone out shopping. That's right, she said she was going out for dinner shopping. The moment I thought I had no one on my side, all the efforts I had made came crashing down. I have to solve this myself. I can't accept such an unreasonable proposal. It's not right for Violet if we get a divorce. I thought of our elementary school-aged daughter. But it seemed my husband wasn't thinking about that at all. "Look, I've gotten this healthy, but look at you. That monstrous head of yours. It's unbearable to look at." "But this happened because I gave you a kidney." "So what? Don't act like you're doing me a favor." "Sure, I asked for a kidney, but if I'd known you'd go bald, I would never have asked." "How can you say that? I didn't choose to go bald." After all the pain I went through to help this man. "You've been thinking this the whole time since you got out of the hospital?" "Yeah, I have. It's been torture seeing you every day. To think of waking up next to a monster for the rest of my life. It's just disgusting." "That's cruel, after I gave you my kidney." "You're gonna say that?" "Sure, I asked for it, but who would have thought it would turn you into a monster?" "But still." "Just sign the divorce papers, all right. Here, sign this." "Sign." What Owen had carelessly tossed to me was a set of divorce papers. Moreover, they were already signed and stamped with his name. "Once you sign this, we're strangers." "That'll be a relief, won't it?" "But what about Violet? She's still in elementary school. Wouldn't she be sad if her parents got divorced?" "She'll forget about it soon enough. It's no big deal. Better a younger and prettier woman as a mother than a monster like you." "What do you mean by that?" "I mean, once I'm divorced from you, I can find a new love. Then I can remarry a beautiful woman." "Are you saying you've been cheating?" "Why would you think that? You think I'd have time to cheat while I was sick?" Sure, normally one wouldn't have the time to cheat. But looking back, it seemed he spent too much time away from the family. But nothing. Don't accuse me of things that aren't true. You're a monster who's jealous for no reason. How much more disgusting can you get? Just sign the divorce papers already." "Wait, you can't just spring this on me." "It's not sudden. Since I got sick, I've really thought about it. It's a waste of time to stay with an old wife like you. I've always hated how you made me feel indebted. I decided in my heart that I'd divorce you once I got well." "Once you got well? Is that why you asked me for a kidney?" "I didn't necessarily need your kidney. Any would have done, but it just so happened that yours was available. It's only sensible to use what's usable." With such a cavalier attitude. "I've taken on so many risks because of this." "So what? You were informed about the risks at the hospital, weren't you? You decided to go through with it anyway, didn't you?" "I didn't force you." "Yeah, but if I'm gone, who's going to work and take care of this house?" "Don't worry, you don't need to think about that. I'm healthy now. I can work and provide for the family.
Even when you keep saying every day how sluggish and feverish you feel? You're going to work like that?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm sure I'll be back to my full strength soon. Then I can find a job again and start supporting the family.
So you're that healthy now? But you haven't done anything yourself. You let Mom and me do everything.
That's because you wanted to do it all. You always said you could do it faster yourself. It's true, but it was Owen who was content to let it be that way. So, once you sign that, you can get out.
Get out? Why?
Obviously. Once you sign it, you're a stranger to me. It'd be weird for a stranger to live in my family home. It's only natural that you're the one to leave.
But what about Violet? You can't just tell me to leave all of a sudden. I have nowhere to go.
What are you talking about? It's obvious Violet stays here. I can't leave my child with a woman who doesn't even have a place to live. So, it was all planned out. Owen had me donate a kidney just so he could kick me out once he started feeling better. I was just conveniently used. I was completely dejected and unable to think when my mother-in-law walked into the room. I'm home. Oh, what's wrong? Looking for rescue in the face of my returned mother-in-law, I saw a young woman standing next to her.
Hey! Why are you in the house? I told you to wait outside. Well, I couldn't help it. Your mom told me to come in. You have to listen to your future mother-in-law, right? Future mother-in-law? Idiot. Don't say weird things. Mom, why did you even let her in the house?
Well, when I came back from shopping, this girl was standing outside. When I asked what she wanted, she said she knew you. So naturally, I told her to come in. What's wrong with that? Isn't that what you'd expect? Indeed, that's expected. If someone is said to be acquainted with my husband, they would be let in. But this woman, who's said to be an acquaintance. What kind of acquaintance is she? Weren't you just an acquaintance?
That is.
Well, more than an acquaintance, I'm his girlfriend. And soon, I'll be family to your mother-in-law.
What is this girl talking about? That is.
Come on, Owen, say it clearly. That I'm your girlfriend and we're promised to marry.
You've been cheating. But you just said you didn't have time for that?
That's why. Why did you come into the house just because you were invited? Well, I wanted to see the bald-headed monster for myself. Owen said his wife's head has become so bald, she looks like a monster or a goblin. It's disgusting to think of being with that for the rest of his life.
How could you say such a thing? No, Mom, it's not like that.
So, since you're getting divorced and she's leaving this house, I won't get to see such a monster again. I was curious to see how much of a monster she is. And then, what a pity, she's wearing a wig. So, my husband and his mistress have been laughing at me?
Are you saying you've been cheating? And that's why you want to divorce Amy? That's a divorce paper there, isn't it?
No, that is. Amy, do you agree with this? Mom. I was just suddenly told about it. So, I'm in a panic right now. I don't understand what's happening.
After all the devoted care she's given you while you were sick. What have you been doing?
And he's telling me, after we get divorced, I have to leave this house. But I have nowhere to go. I can't give up Violet.
Of course. Why would I let a child go to such a terrible man who can do things like this? But Mom, if you give Amy the child, I won't be able to see Violet anymore? I'm saying I'll take Violet for your sake.
My mother-in-law was silent for a while, but when she spoke, it was something unexpected.
Amy, sign the divorce papers.
Mom. I thought, so I'm just the daughter-in-law after all. But then my mother-in-law said something completely different.
If you sign the divorce papers, it's you who's leaving. Why should I leave? Whose house is this? That's Mom's. So that means I decide who lives in this house, doesn't it? I want to live with Amy. I don't want to live with a young woman who goes after someone else's husband. What's with this old lady? And about Violet. There's no way a woman who spews such nastiness can take care of a child. Besides, you're unemployed. An unemployed person with no fixed address can't raise a child. So, it should be Amy who takes custody of the child. That's absurd, Mom. What's the problem? You've been using your illness as an excuse not to do anything around the house. You hardly even look after Violet. Moreover, since you've been discharged, you've just been selfishly yelling around. Can't you see that Violet is scared of you? Why? Parents get angry sometimes, don't they? You're just shouting for no reason. Of course the child is frightened. That's not what being a parent is about. You're the one who has to leave. Mom, you're not on my side? I'm on the side of what's right. You're wrong. You betrayed a dedicated wife like Amy. How could I possibly be on your side? Damn it. Fine then.
Owen grabbed the signed divorce papers and left with the woman. After they left, my mother-in-law kneeled down and apologized to me. I'm so sorry. I never knew he would do such a stupid thing. He didn't understand at all how much you struggled to take care of him. I can't ask for forgiveness, but please. You've done nothing wrong. Please lift your face. I'm sorry, it's my fault for raising him wrong. That's not true. My kind mother-in-law apologized again and again, blaming her upbringing. How could the child of such a kind person turn out like this? Every time I remembered my former husband, I just couldn't understand where things went wrong. 3 months later. As usual, living with my mother-in-law and Violet, I received a call from my ex-husband Owen. But I couldn't bring myself to answer the phone and just ignored it, yet Owen left a message. Thinking I might as well listen to it, I played the message, and it was as selfish as ever.
Why aren't you picking up the phone? I'm in a serious situation here. Turns out I have liver disease now. I need another transplant. Your liver would be perfect for me. So give me your liver. Then I can be healthy again. Please, pick up the phone.
My ex-husband sounded almost hysterical. I thought to myself how utterly selfish he was. When I told my mother-in-law, she looked pained. What do you think, Amy? I'm sorry to say this, but Owen is a stranger to me now. After everything he's said and done, I can't bring myself to give anything to him. Of course. You're not wrong. That must be divine punishment. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. I'm sure if you gave your liver, he wouldn't be grateful. Besides, if you were to get sick from the donation, it would be terrible for Violet. You're making the right decision. It's okay, that's the way it should be. If he contacts you again, just tell him straight. Thank you. And if God forgives, surely a donor will be found. If not, that's the punishment he's been given, it can't be helped. My mother-in-law said this with sad eyes. It was a hard choice for her, thinking of her son. It was a hard choice for her, thinking of her son. Yet, the pain of not being able to do that must be immeasurable. But she knew that even if I did donate, Owen's character wouldn't change. Continuing to be selfish and hurting me and my family, I found myself wishing he would just suffer alone. Then there was another contact from my husband. The number of calls was devilishly high, and the voicemails were full of bitterness because I wasn't answering. Out of frustration for not answering the calls, Owen came to our house. As before, when I returned from work, my mother-in-law had gone shopping, and I was alone in the house. I felt a slight fear of Owen's actions, as if he was intentionally waiting for my mother-in-law to be out. Hey, Amy. Owen, who greeted me with those words, looked gaunt and his complexion was poor. It seemed like his illness had advanced significantly.
Why the hell aren't you answering your phone? Why would I? I don't want to talk to you. But I left you a message. I heard it. Then why didn't you respond?
I didn't see the need to.
I'm begging you. Why won't you help me? It didn't seem like begging, and even if it was, I have no intention of being your donor. Why not? I don't have much time left.
My condolences.
I'm still alive.
That's unfortunate.
Please, give me your liver.
No, thank you.
Why the hell not?
Don't you understand why? Think about what you did to me after I gave you my kidney.
That couldn't be helped.
I don't think it was unavoidable at all. No matter how much you beg, I won't become your donor. If I did and something happened to me, you would just play ignorant, wouldn't you? If you need a liver that badly, ask her.
That's... Nora left me when she found out I was sick. She dumped me and left.
Well, that's tough. But it's what you deserve.
Don't say that. Being divorced means I'm alone. You have no idea how hard it is to endure feeling sluggish every day and still have to work.
I understand. I gave you a kidney, remember? I still feel sluggish from that. Yet, I do the housework, take care of the child, and work. I think I have it harder than you.
Then I'll remarry you. I'll overlook your baldness. Marry me, give me your liver, and I'll work this time. That way, you can take it easy, right?
Time out. I'm not relying on you. And marry me as if it's a favor from you? How can you even say that when you're in trouble? I won't give you my liver. Don't come back.
Don't be like that.
If you keep this up, I'll call the police, got it? Hearing the word police, Owen fled like he was running away. I thought that would be the last of it, but Owen had more outrageous plans. That happened a few days later. My mother-in-law contacted me to say that hadn't returned from school.
Violet hasn't come back?
Yes, she's usually back by this time. But she's nowhere to be found. I've looked everywhere. For a moment, Owen's face flashed through my mind. But surely he wouldn't take his own child. I dismissed the thought, but then Owen called.
If you want Violet back, give me your liver. What? Owen? Yes, that's right. You must be worried about Violet, right? Give me your liver, and I'll bring her back. Violet must be the most important thing to you. How could you kidnap a child? I've only taken my own child. This isn't kidnapping. Unfortunately for you, we're divorced, and I have custody. A stranger taking a child is definitely kidnapping. I'm calling the police. You're prepared for that, right? Why does it end up like this? I just want your liver. I never thought of kidnapping. It's too late. If you had given me your liver, I wouldn't have had to do this. It's your fault, isn't it? Don't blame others for everything. You cheated and abandoned your family, and when you got sick, you expect help. And when things don't go your way, you kidnap your child. That's unforgivable. Why are you getting so angry? It's your fault. Enough.
I hung up the phone and immediately contacted the police to report my child was kidnapped. The police quickly deployed to Owen's apartment and rescued my child. Violet came back to me with tears streaming down her face, clinging to me and crying. Afterward, Owen, who was arrested, reached out through his lawyer asking for forgiveness. It seemed he truly regretted it. What should I do? That's up to you, Amy. I'm his mother. I'd be happy if he's forgiven, but I also understand if you don't want to forgive. I can't tell you what to do. You're right. If I prioritized my feelings, I couldn't possibly forgive him. Since that incident, Violet has been afraid to go out alone. Considering he's her father, it's terrible to think what must have happened to make her so afraid. But Violet doesn't say anything when asked. Still, when I think of my mother-in-law. After carrying this maze-like worry for months, I ultimately decided to settle. Owen, having been released from detention, bowed deeply, apologizing. And then he started asking to remarry.
I said selfish things about remarrying. I regret it. But in the police cell, I realized what I really need is Amy. Amy needs me too, right? Without me, it just won't do. So, if we remarry, I'm the best choice, right? Then you can take care of me again. I have no intention of remarrying. Why not? I care so much about you.
While asking to remarry, his words betrayed that it wasn't really about remarriage. He's scheming to use me under the guise of remarrying.
Stop it. I'll never marry you again.
Since he brought up the issue of being a donor again, after discussing with my mother-in-law, I decided to move with my daughter. Learning of my move, my ex-husband became frantic, searching for me, but ultimately, he succumbed to his illness, passing away in fear. As for me, even though I left the in-laws' house, I keep in touch with my mother-in-law, and she even comes over to stay sometimes. I'm planning to buy a house where I can live with my mother-in-law once I've saved enough money. My name is Sarah Waters. I've been married for 4 years, but it's the second marriage for my husband. He has a high school-aged son named Mike, who is right in the middle of his rebellious phase. No matter how kind I am, he just won't accept me. Susan is living with her grandson Mike, but she's spoiling him terribly.
Hey, Susan is incredibly indulgent with Mike. She buys him anything he wants. Isn't that fine?
My husband, who grew up being pampered himself, seems to think this is normal and doesn't see anything wrong with it. As a result, I'm treated more like a household employee. But we're not exactly living in luxury, and it's quite a struggle.
Susan, you left the lights on again.
So?
It would help if you could turn them off. It saves on the electricity bill.
That's not a big deal, is it?
But the electricity bill is. If it bothers you that much, you turn them off. No need to mention it every time.
You really have a bad attitude. This isn't about my attitude. It's about hers. After all, my husband is just a regular office worker. Of course, I work too, but we need to save as much as we can for Mike's potential college expenses.
Mike, you left the faucet running. Could you use a basin to wash your face? Man, you're annoying. It's not a big deal. You always sweat the small stuff.
No matter what I say, these two don't care. I thought about asking my husband to talk to them, but he's not much better. He says sorry when I point things out, but he doesn't seem to have any intention of changing. And at dinner, what's this? Leftovers from yesterday? Mike gets in a bad mood if he doesn't see freshly made dishes every time.
This was made today. I want all new dishes. And there should be 3. Otherwise, it just doesn't feel right.
He's so picky about his meals, it's like dealing with a prince. Then my mother-in-law chimes in.
That's right. Serving leftovers is just laziness on the part of a housewife.
Cooking is a basic duty, after all.
But it's wasteful not to eat leftovers.
If you think it's wasteful, you eat them.
Don't make Mike eat leftovers. And that goes for my son too. And what's with this dish? Is it made from vegetable scraps? I made it from vegetable peels.
That's so stingy.
It just screams poverty. You're not supposed to use vegetable peels. They're nutritious. It's another dish if you use them.
Why do you have to be so poor?
It's like you're saying my son's salary is low, so you have to do this. That's not true. But yes, we are trying to save money. Oh yeah, for cooking, make sure to buy and use the expensive bottled water. You know, ever since you came, the meals have been awful.
I thought tap water should be just fine, especially since it's boiled. What is she even thinking?
Oh, and about the tub. There's grime floating in it after you shower. Is it dirty?
Yes. It's always like this. Even when I try to make a light lunch, she doesn't like it and ends up taking Mike to a restaurant. Because of this, Susan's allowance runs out fast, and she starts asking me for money.
I thought I just gave you some. That was gone in no time. Plus, it was so little, I can't buy the things Mike wants. You might not care since he's not your kid, but to me, he's my dear grandson. I want to buy him everything he desires, since you won't.
Such sarcasm. One day, the topic of building a house came up. Of course, I was against it, but they wouldn't listen.
It's fine. We can just leave the mortgage for Mike's generation.
That seemed unfair.
Right, as long as Mike inherits it, no problem at all.
Neither my husband Kyle nor Susan seemed to think it was unfair.
But we're barely saving a little as it is.
Whoa.
You've got savings? That's awesome.
No worries, then. Kyle just didn't understand. And eventually, the new house was built.
Life's tough enough, and now we'll have a mortgage.
I couldn't bear the thought of more sacrifices for this family. They were all dreaming about life in the new house, not considering my feelings. Then, on moving day, Mike and Susan said to me,
"Take care of all the housework and give us our allowance every week. And cover part of the rent, too."
I couldn't believe it and finally spoke up. "I'll pass."
"What? I'll pass on what? Backing out of being a maid now?"
"Please." I had a feeling they treated me like a maid, but hearing it directly was too much.
"I'm not part of this family, so I won't be moving to the new house." "What? Who's going to cook then?"
"Yeah. And who'll clean? Do it yourself."
"Huh, what a foolish woman. We thought we'd take you as a substitute maid."
"Really?
What a waste for the new house." "Well, do this last thing for us. Carry all these boxes to the new house."
Joking again.
"Who'd do that?"
"Carry your own boxes."
"How rude. After all the patience we've shown, now you get all high and mighty about moving?"
"Grandma, it's fine. We'll be rid of her. No more nagging about saving money."
"That's true. But where will you live?"
"This apartment's a rental. Once my son moves, you can't stay here." "Don't worry.
I've found a place that suits me." "You've been looking? You planned this from the start?"
"Yes.
No matter how hard I tried, you never understood. I don't want to be at your mercy anymore." "Does Kyle know?"
"He doesn't.
But I've reached my limit."
"Well, we don't need you."
"It's a relief you're leaving."
So, the selfish son and his doting mother moved out with their belongings. Once they were gone, I started moving to my new place. A small apartment, peaceful and within my budget. No more complaints about saving money. Such a stress-free life. But that night, I got a call from Kyle.
"Sarah, what's going on?"
"Oh, welcome back."
"Not welcome back. I was shocked to come home from work and find you gone."
"Sorry, I'm not going to that house."
"Why not?"
"I just can't agree with your way of thinking."
"What do you mean you can't agree? We're a married couple, this is like separation."
"Yes, I guess it is."
"It's not I guess it is. Not moving together, without any discussion."
"Yeah, we didn't discuss it."
"That's what I mean. Why go ahead without discussing it with me?"
"There were a lot of things.
I tried talking to you about them sometimes, but you never really paid attention." "Did that really happen?"
"It did.
Like how no matter how much I save, no one helps." "That's not really something to discuss. And it's too trivial."
"Trivial? Isn't it important for our household budget?"
"Why? We're able to save, aren't we? It's not a problem."
"It was necessary for saving."
"And you call it trivial?"
"Ah. Sorry. It's not trivial to you."
"Huh? Because even with all the saving, it doesn't make that much difference."
Typical woman, right?
"It's not about being a woman or a man, is it?"
"Maybe.
But I think saving is pointless." "That's it. You never care about the efforts I make for everyone's sake. When I serve leftovers, I get complaints, and I'm fed up with Susan and Mike too."
"Hey, I can't just let that go."
"But it's true. They're always asking for more allowance, call me stingy if I don't give, and then treat me like a maid. It can't be helped. You're a wife to me, but you can't be a mother to Mike. It's natural for mother-in-laws and daughters-in-law to have issues." What you're saying, they're just normal things, not really problems or something to discuss.
You really think that way? I can't stand it, that's why I'm saying I've had enough.
Don't say that. We can't pay the mortgage without you, can we?
Yes, we need 2 incomes to pay it, don't we?
If you know that, come back.
No.
I was against building that house. I clearly explained that our finances couldn't handle it, didn't I? Well, we can pay it off, can't we? We have Mike, after all.
Relying on the child like that. What if he leaves home? Who will pay then?
He won't leave home.
You can't know that.
You're worrying too much. Just like the thought of you leaving home, it's something that just can't happen.
I don't understand how you can be so sure.
Because we're married. As for the house, I know you were against it. But you were the only one. The other 3 of us agreed. It was a majority decision, so it's settled. Come back, or the mortgage will be a problem.
You want me to come back because of the mortgage? Yeah, that's right. What other reason would there be? Nothing like I love you or I don't want to be apart.
Such girly stuff? No way.
Girly.
Look, if we can't pay the mortgage, we'll lose the house. You don't want that, do you?
Not really. Maybe it's better if it's taken away.
Don't say that. It's tough already. You know how much trouble it would be if you're gone.
Yes, I'm well aware. Especially since your company went bankrupt. That's right. You haven't told your mom about that yet?
Of course not. Why would I? It would just worry her unnecessarily.
While you're telling me to come back to help pay, you won't ask Susan for help? She's elderly, I can't ask her for that. And about the unpaid salary, any chance of getting it? No, that's unlikely.
Eh?
The boss skipped town.
What?
We all confronted him about the salary, but it seems hopeless now. When I went to the office today, he was gone, and the suppliers were panicking. Are you joking? You're almost $20,000 behind in salary, right? Can't help it. I'd make a fuss if it would help, but looks like I need to find another job. That's why I said you should have quit, instead of building a house. But I only heard the company was in trouble after construction started. Stopping midway would have disappointed Susan and Mike too. I'm the one who's disappointed. I know, that's why I went ahead with it.
Not that kind of disappointed. I'm disappointed in your shallow thinking.
So, let's work together as a couple. It feels more like I'm the only one working hard. That's not true. I don't have a job now, but I will find one. That's what people with job offers say. It's not settled for you. Don't be like that. And I'm tired of being treated like a maid. A housewife is kinda like a maid, isn't she?
What?
Susan was like that too, always busy in the kitchen.
That's not the point.
Maybe, but that's how I see it. Once Mike gets married, there will be 2 maids. Just hang in there until then. How could he say such a thing? A wife being treated like a maid as if it's normal. Kyle says let's work together, but it sounds more like you do all the work. Hey! Just because I'm working, it's taken for granted that I should give an allowance. I can't agree with that. That's petty. The one who works gives money to the one who doesn't. It's normal, right? The money I earn is for the future and living expenses of the family, not for handouts. You're worrying too much. Enough. I can't do this anymore. I don't see what's so unbearable. Maybe you don't understand. But I do. I've decided it's the right time. I'll mail the divorce papers later, and you can file them at the office. Complaining about no income since the company went bankrupt, that's heartless. If you had told the family everything when it went bankrupt, it wouldn't be a big deal if I left.
How could I say that? Besides, I didn't, so it's okay.
It's not okay, that's why I'm saying it.
You'll have no place to live if you cancel the lease on that apartment, right?
No, I've already secured another place to live. I want to live in a place suited for me.
It's better to live comfortably within my means than to struggle with high expenses. That's too soon. Plan your spending, like the TV commercials say. I'm just being strategic. Too strategic.
Kyle kept saying let's get back again and come back, but it was impossible, so I hung up. 3 months passed without a word from him. I thought maybe he had given up and was trying hard. But it turned out he wasn't. He had finally found a job, but it was just part-time, and he was struggling, now asking me for help.
It's been a while, Sarah. Are you doing okay?
Oh, Kyle. What about you? Are you okay?
Yeah, sort of.
You don't sound so sure.
Well.
Did you find a job?
Yeah, kind of.
You're really beating around the bush, aren't you?
Actually, I've only been able to find part-time work.
For the entire 3 months? No, just recently.
What?
I've been at home, jobless, all this time.
So, you mean you haven't been working?
Right.
And Susan and Mike still don't know?
No.
I told them a week ago. What about until then? I said I was working from home. They believe that? Both of them? Yeah, when I said I switched to remote work, they just said it was something new.
New?
Yeah, remote work is becoming more common. Sure, but still, how much did they believe?
I'm trustworthy, you know. Trustworthy.
I don't think that's the point. How did you pay the mortgage for 3 months?
From savings.
So, you mean your savings are gone now?
Yeah. You're taking this quite lightly.
What can I do?
Worrying won't help, and I don't want to go bald.
Is that your concern?
That's why I'm contacting you.
I would have preferred to discuss this in person, but I don't know where you are. If you tell me your address, I can come over.
No, don't come.
That's harsh. We're still married, aren't we?
Wait, we're not married, are we?
We are.
Why?
I sent you the divorce papers. They must have arrived.
Yeah, they arrived.
But I didn't want to file them. So, we're sort of separated, but still married.
It's not sort of. I told you I want a divorce.
I don't want that. Without you, who will help me in tough times?
Is that why you contacted me now?
You figured it out. Good I didn't file for divorce, huh? Since we're married, you'll help me, right?
What a person he is. Always trying to take advantage of me?
Can you file the divorce papers quickly? I thought we were already strangers. It's a hassle to remarry. Let's just stay as we are.
I'm not planning to remarry.
Don't say that. I'm really in trouble here.
All I can do is sigh. Is he shameless, or just hopelessly optimistic?
So, when you told Susan and Mike you're working part-time, did they say they'd help? They were angry I didn't tell them sooner. That's understandable. So, did they agree to help? They said it's a tough situation. So, did they say they'd help?
Yes or no?
No.
I thought as much. I never thought those two would come together to make an effort. But at least Kyle is Susan's son. I had a little hope they wouldn't say he had to handle everything alone, but it seems my expectations were completely shattered.
So basically, only you need to work hard? Well, can't help it. I'm the head of the family. If I don't work, no one else will.
Susan is 70 years old, and their son, Mike, is still in high school. But that doesn't mean they can't do anything.
Are you saving money? You're not still living luxuriously, are you?
We're not living in luxury.
Insisting on having 3 dishes for a meal?
That's only natural. You don't feel like you've eaten without at least 3 dishes, right?
Not eating leftovers.
That's natural too. Leftovers are just waste.
What about lunch? Eating out?
Yeah, we do.
Are you kidding? With no money, why would you allow that?
Can't help it. Mom says she prefers it that way. That's just wanting to live luxuriously. Mom worked hard when I was a kid. I want to make life easier for her now.
But you don't have the means for that. That's why I'm asking you for help. Come on, Sarah, help me out, please.
No matter how much you ask, I've decided to divorce. I don't want to continue with someone who has such an unreasonable lifestyle. If you don't file the divorce papers soon, I'll demand alimony.
Sorry. That's a problem. I'll go to the office and file them tomorrow.
Once you file them, don't involve me ever again.
Okay, but please, help me out.
Kyle understood but actually didn't. Until the very end, he kept asking for my help. But I couldn't bring myself to help them, living so recklessly and still not wanting to change their lifestyle. About a month later, I got a call from Susan.
Kyle has disappeared. Are you hiding him?
I don't know.
You must know.
What happened?
That boy wasn't working. He didn't tell us the company went bankrupt, just said he was working from home. When he finally admitted he only found part-time work, he disappeared. Now we can't pay the mortgage.
That's tough.
Why are you talking like it's none of your business? This happened because you left the house.
I didn't leave on a whim. I said I wouldn't move with you, and you agreed.
If you were here, we could have paid the mortgage.
I'm not sure about that. Even with me there, nothing would have changed unless Kyle found a job.
If you were here, we could have at least paid the mortgage.
With the way you were living luxuriously without saving, even I couldn't have paid it. Why did he leave? Did you say something to corner him?
I didn't say anything like that. I just told him what would we do since he only works part-time. He's the only one who can work.
That would make anyone want to leave. There's no spirit of helping each other in the family.
That's pointless to say now.
Well, true. I don't know where he is.
We're family, you should know.
Huh? I'm divorced, we're not family anymore.
Lies?
Oh, Kyle didn't tell you that?
I haven't heard. I thought you would help us out in a pinch.
Oh, that's absolutely not happening.
How could you? Why are we divorced?
The reason is your and Mike's selfishness.
Don't say that, please help. I'll do anything.
I refuse.
What a terrible woman you are.
Mike's voice came through, hurling insults at me, so I hung up. Kyle never returned. Eventually, Susan made a tough decision and sold the house. But even after selling it, there was some mortgage left. She moved to a rundown apartment and did odd jobs and part-time work as much as she could. But the strain was too much, and she eventually became bedridden. When Mike, not knowing what to do, asked her for advice, she said, "Ask Sarah for help," and he came to me. Help me. A dejected Mike. Are you working a part-time job? No. What about school? I'm going. So, you're just trying to take the easy way out. Impossible. Come back when you've really hit rock bottom.
What do you mean?
Why are you continuing in a private high school with no money? No one will help someone who doesn't work a part-time job and just asks for help.
That's harsh. Dad said I should at least finish high school.
That doesn't mean it has to be a private school. You could transfer to a correspondence course. You should be able to work while studying. It's too easy to expect help without doing anything yourself.
That's tough.
Mike had thought he would get help, but he was told he was being naive and left. He actually dropped out of high school and started working in a factory. Now, he is living a modest life while working. When I saw him on the street the other day, he had a refreshingly clear expression I had never seen before. In my heart, I cheered him on, "Keep it up." I'm going to remarry this woman. My ex-husband declared just 3 days after our divorce. He brought his new partner to my parents' house, where he ambushed me to make this announcement. It seemed he wanted to see my frustrated reaction. Beaming with pride, he said, "As you can see, she's incredibly beautiful. She's kind, gentle, and comes from a prestigious family. Her father is a CEO. She's the perfect wife." I couldn't care less about my ex-husband's new partner, but I was curious about the woman who would come all the way to my parents' house. When I glanced at her, she slightly lifted her hat, and our eyes met. I recognized her face, and for a moment I was stunned, but then I burst into laughter. I'm Aileen Standish, a 40-year-old working in IT. My husband, Tyler, was also my age. We had known each other since high school. Back then, Tyler was the life of the party, always involved in school or sports events. He was popular with everyone, and even captained the soccer team. I, on the other hand, was introverted, preferring books over social events, the complete opposite of Tyler. Despite our differences, we ended up attending the same university and even in the same faculty. Tyler was full of questions. You're Aileen, right? Do you live nearby? What's your major? Made any friends? I'd never had a male friend, so I was overwhelmed and initially kept quiet. Even so, my husband didn't stop talking to me, so gradually I opened up and we became close. Tyler always had a naive side to him. Like the time he thought he was scouted by an entertainment agency, but it turned out to be a suspicious venture asking for a $10,000 membership fee according to my research. Sometimes he almost fell for an easy-to-understand scam. I couldn't leave him alone, and while I was trying to take care of him, he told me, I can't live without you, who is a reliable person. I started to think that there was no such thing, and we decided to start dating. When we started dating, I knew that he was cute, even though he was more motivated than anyone else, but he was kind of lazy. He had a certain charm, despite his cluelessness. Our relationship flourished, and we eventually married after graduating and finding jobs at different companies. We were happy. My husband also worked diligently and helped with the housework, and we got along well. At the height of such happiness, there was new good news. I became pregnant. I was hoping that my husband would become a little more manly and reliable because of my pregnancy, but he often said, "Dinner? I'm sick today, so maybe get something from the supermarket today?" Again? "I'll wait until you feel better, so go ahead and make me some food," he said, giving no indication that he cared about me as a pregnant woman. What's more, when my belly started to grow little by little, he often made comments like, "You've really gained weight. You look like a wrestler." I was often irritated with my husband, but for the sake of my unborn child, I was careful not to accumulate stress by going home to take a breather. After a long pregnancy, I safely gave birth to a baby girl. I named the baby Hannah. There were many things I didn't understand and difficulties raising my child for the first time, but I was very happy spending time with my daughter and husband. A year has passed since my daughter was born, and my maternity leave has ended, so I returned to work. I was originally working full-time, but balancing childcare and work was harder than I expected, both physically and mentally. In the end, I consulted with my husband and coworkers and decided to switch to part-time. When I started working shorter hours, my husband's sloppy personality escalated further. "Hey, have you cleaned the bathroom?
Just do the cleaning yourself,"
he said. "Your working hours are short, so you should have some free time." While I was preparing dinner, my daughter suddenly started crying. "Hey, I can't keep my hands off it, so please take care of Hannah and change her diaper." When I said that, he retorted, "I can't do it. I'll never be able to change a diaper. It'll hurt my nose, too." The days were tough, but to be honest, I had gotten used to the situation, and before I knew it, 8 years had passed. Now that my daughter is 8 years old, I don't have much to do with her anymore, so I was planning to put even more effort into my work from now on, but suddenly my husband said, "I'm quitting my job."
"What do you suddenly say when our daughter is finally grown up?"
He said things like, "I want to grow more. I don't want to be just a worker." My husband sometimes behaves in strange ways that surprise everyone around him, and I call them seizures. I watched him for a while, thinking that it was just another of his whims, when he suddenly announced that he was quitting his job, but his desire to change jobs never seemed to subside. Finally, without consulting me at all, he simply said, "I found a new job, so I'm quitting my job. I'll start working at the new company in 2 days." I thought I would stop them if they were trying to do something suspicious again, but when I looked into the company, thankfully, it was a reputable company. But at this new job, Tyler's delusions grew. He started talking about becoming the CEO and demanding respect as a future leader. My daughter and I were simply bemused by his antics. Things only got worse with Tyler's behavior and attitude.
You look older now. All the young girls at work are so pretty.
Huh?
You're getting older too. It's natural for everyone. I know, but you could at least try to be more fashionable. Look at this woman, she's got 2 kids and still looks stunning.
He was showing me a photo of a popular Instagram influencer. I was annoyed at being compared to her. I mean, I do keep myself pretty well put together, especially considering I'm 40 and have a child. It was frustrating how he pushed all the housework and parenting onto me while drooling over young, pretty girls. Around this time, Tyler started working late more often and coming home less.
You've been coming home late recently. Really? It's the usual time, isn't it?
He replied, but his return time was definitely later. Especially on Tuesdays and Fridays, when he wouldn't be home before 10 p.m.
Why are you always late on Tuesdays and Fridays?
When I asked, he suddenly spoke quickly and defensively, it's for a project. We have meetings only on Tuesdays and Fridays. Are you doubting me? He seemed quite unsettled. Okay, got it, I said, and he looked visibly relieved. But I was suspicious. Ever since we were dating. He always talked fast and got angry when he was lying or feeling guilty. His behavior was predictable. So, I took action. While Tyler was in the shower, I checked his phone. I remembered the password. He once said, my car license plate number and the password on my old cell phone are all 4649. It was just like him to be that simple. When I entered 4649, the phone unlocked. And there it was, evidence of his affair all over his phone. Messages on text like, I'm free this Friday, can't wait to see you, and is your wife okay with this? She's clueless, no worries. There were also many photos of him cozy with his coworker. It seemed to be a junior at the company. I transferred all the evidence to my phone, shaking with anger. With all the proof gathered, I finally confronted Tyler about a divorce. Initially, he denied everything, but when faced with the evidence, he turned pale.
I'm sorry. Please don't divorce me.
You wanted a divorce, that's why you cheated and grew cold.
No, it was just a momentary lapse. I don't want to lose you or Hannah. Please.
I was filled with hatred for him, but couldn't bring myself to divorce for our daughter's sake, who was 8 at the time. I decided to stay married on the condition that he cease all contact with the woman in the future. It seems that she voluntarily resigned from the company, perhaps because she felt uncomfortable having someone, with whom she had an affair, working at the same company. For 6 months, he seemed genuinely repentant, but a year later, he was back to his old ways, belittling me. I couldn't forgive him for the affair and his continuous disrespect. Our marriage was cold. But we stayed together for our daughter. No matter how many times I broached the subject of divorce, my husband continued to refuse. However, a week ago, Tyler suddenly asked for a divorce. Let's divorce.
What? I've made up my mind.
Let's divorce. Why now? You always refused before. It's not that I didn't want to get divorced. I asked, genuinely curious. I also thought it was best for both of us to divorce. However, he refused to divorce, and he wondered why he had decided to divorce now, even though there had been many times before.
It's your fault. Since my affair, you've changed. You never forgave me, and I'm sick of it.
He blamed me. I had indeed never forgiven him. Not just for the affair, but for everything that followed.
It's not just an affair. You've been insulting me all this time. I was doing it for your own good. A woman should take care of the house and maintain her looks. You were slacking, so I had to remind you. It's not my fault we're divorcing.
That's when I realized he would never admit his faults. He always blamed me, never listening when I said he shared the blame. Finally, he insisted, "It's not my fault. So no alimony or splitting assets, remember that." That confirmed it. Tyler wanted to come out on top in the divorce, insisting it was all my fault. There's something wrong with my husband saying things like this. I suspected he might be having another affair. He was so predictable. Getting agitated and talking fast just like before. In the past, I would have confronted him. But now, I have no more interest in him.
Fine, let's divorce. I don't need your assets, but I won't give up living with my daughter. All right, that's fine.
I said, utterly dismayed at how easily Tyler seemed to give up on our daughter despite always claiming she was so important to him. Soon after, we went through the divorce proceedings and finalized it without any trouble. I moved back to my parents' house with my daughter. She wasn't opposed to the divorce and wanted to come with me, saying, "Dad's hardly ever home anyway, and he's so mean to you, Mom. I think it's better if we're apart. I just want you to be happy." I was ready to start a new life with my daughter and my parents, but just 3 days after the divorce, an unexpected event occurred. When I came home from work one day, I saw Tyler and a woman with long black hair in front of the house. She was wearing a hat that obscured her face, giving me a bad feeling. I wanted to ignore them, but since they were in front of my family's house, I couldn't just leave them there. Approaching them, Tyler came towards me with a smug smile.
"What do you want?"
I asked apprehensively.
"I'm going to remarry this woman,"
he announced triumphantly, his eyes sparkling. Just 3 days after we decided divorce. It was obvious that their relationship overlapped with our marriage. And now he was bragging about it so loudly. What kind of person does that? Has my husband started having strange seizures again? I couldn't help feeling disgusted, thinking this was another one of Tyler's bizarre episodes. I tried to show my disgust openly, but Tyler, absorbed in his story, didn't seem to notice. He went on about his new wife, unasked. "As you can see, she's incredibly beautiful, kind, gentle, and her father is a CEO. She comes from a prestigious family. She's the perfect wife." Though I didn't care about Tyler's new partner, I couldn't help but peek at her face. When she slightly lifted her hat, our eyes met. And I recognized her face instantly, freezing for a moment. Seeing me, her face turned pale. I couldn't help but burst into laughter.
"Stop it, this is too funny." "What are you laughing at?" "Because I know this woman very well. The easy target you mentioned, Tyler, was actually you."
Tyler naively responded, "A target? You two know each other? What a small world." Meanwhile, the woman, trying to leave, said to Tyler,
"I'm feeling sick, can we go home now?"
Her name is Natalia, and she's trying to leave right now, as if she can't stay here anymore. But Tyler stopped her. Laughing cluelessly, "What's wrong, Natalia? I didn't know you knew Eileen." Natalia tried to stop him, saying, "Stop it. We should go home," but my ex-husband showed no signs of coming home. "How did you know each other?" he asked us, so I explained. Actually, we had worked together for about 7 years. We had been working together for 7 years. While I was explaining my relationship with Natalia, she seemed quite upset and uncomfortable. However, Tyler doesn't notice her behavior and tells me how perfect she is. She's a 29-year-old beauty, graduated from a prestigious university, kinder and gentler than you, a great cook, and a perfect wife. I'm glad I divorced you. I'm sorry that I'm the only one who is happy, he said sarcastically. Huh?
What a lovely woman.
I tried to empathize with him, but I couldn't stop grinning. When he saw me grinning without crying or feeling regret, he started to get irritated.
Why aren't you more upset? Crying and screaming? Or are you speechless because my new wife is just too perfect?
I see. Tyler must have come to show off his new partner, hoping to see me upset. But honestly, I felt neither envy nor regret. I had no feelings left for my ex-husband, and it didn't matter to me whom he remarried. However, the fact that his new partner was Natalia was just too amusing. Seeing Natalia's face turn pale, I decided it was time to reveal her true identity to Tyler.
I was just surprised by your new partner, Natalia. I guess Natalia was famous at the office for being a beautiful high achiever. It's no wonder you're shocked that such a perfect woman would marry me.
Yes, indeed.
Natalia was quite famous.
Natalia glared at me fiercely, silently begging me not to say more.
Natalia, you said before you quit your job that you were having an affair with a married man, and it turns out that man was Tyler.
What a surprise.
Hey, you can't do it. Don't go around saying you're cheating.
Tyler was momentarily taken aback by this revelation of his pre-divorce affair, but soon shrugged it off. It was about my stupid husband anyway. Seeing Tyler so smitten with Natalia, I decided to share more about her.
Natalia was promoted quickly at work, maybe because she had a special relationship with the company president. Hey, wait a minute.
When was it?
I remember you said loudly during lunch break that all men are just wallets to you. That you could easily hook them by selling your body. What? You were famous for saying that you slept with the bosses for promotions or money. That's a lie. You must be mistaken. Right. But it was a mistake to get involved with the president. His wife found out about the affair, leading to your firing, right? Stop it. Don't make up lies. It's not true. Tyler, she's just jealous because we make such a perfect couple.
Natalia desperately tried to convince Tyler.
Then how about this? Can you still call it a lie?
I said, showing them a photo on my phone. It was a video of a drunken Natalia at a company party.
Men are just wallets. Buy some ready-made food, plate it up, and they think you're a great cook with no taste. Just undress a bit, and they'll pay you. Now I can pay off my debts.
Natalia ranted in the video. It was hard to see her as the gentle and kind person Tyler believed her to be.
So, all the meals you cooked were actually store-bought? And you have debts?
Tyler asked, confused. Yes, Natalia had a lot of debt. Tyler, in a panic, asked her to explain, but she fell silent.
Oh, and Natalia isn't 29 years old. She's 2 years younger than me, so 38.
Natalia had lied about her age. Sure, she looked young thanks to the money she received from men for Botox injections and cosmetic surgeries, but claiming to be 29 was a stretch. Tyler's lack of judgment in women was truly laughable.
And she's not a CEO's daughter. Her dad works in a factory. So that's why you were so adamant about not meeting your family. It's all lies, isn't it, Natalia? Was there even one true thing in what you said?
Tyler's face turned red with anger as he confronted her.
I'm sorry.
Natalia stammered, caught in her web of lies. It's astonishing that Tyler didn't notice any of Natalia's lies, but that's just like him. He judged her solely based on being young and beautiful, never really looking beyond her appearance. That's the kind of person he is. Discovering that his seemingly perfect Natalia was a facade of lies, Tyler was in shock. Apparently, they met about 6 months ago, and Natalia had been bragging to everyone, "I've found an easy mark, even though he's married." They met at a social bar. While I also questioned Tyler's integrity for attending such places despite being married, Natalia targeted him because he boasted, "I work at a major company and earn a good salary." Hearing this, Natalia saw Tyler as an easy target. Despite noticing his wedding ring, she thought his money could help pay off her debts. Eventually, Tyler, wanting to divorce me to remarry Natalia, believed that by divorcing me quickly, he could use his income to support both of them. That's probably why she decided to marry Tyler. He probably thought he could start a new family with the younger Natalia. Tyler, looking at the apologizing Natalia with disdain, yelled, "I can't believe this. There's no way I can continue with all these lies." The irony of his own deceit was lost on him. He was just as guilty of lying as Natalia.
"Tyler, you don't even work at that company, do you? And you always bragged about your high salary, but you earn less than me." That was...
Stuttering, Tyler couldn't hide his disarray. Natalia, realizing Tyler's deceit, exploded in anger.
What? I was going to marry you thinking you were rich. What a letdown.
She confronted him angrily and pushed him away.
Huh?
Tyler, stunned by her sudden change, was trembling. He loved Natalia for being young, beautiful, a great cook, and a supposed CEO's daughter, while she loved him for his supposed wealth. All their lies came to light, and their relationship crumbled. Realizing I had once been married to such a despicable man, I felt disgusted with myself but was simultaneously relieved to have divorced him. The two liars were indeed a perfect match. As I told them I'd claim division of property and tried to enter my house, Tyler naively exclaimed, "We're already divorced, you can't claim my property." Actually, the process is still ongoing. Maybe you should look it up. If you hadn't come to tell me, I might never have known about the affair. Hearing this, both of their faces turned red. I'll discuss further through my lawyer, I said, finally entering my house. They continued arguing loudly outside, causing a nuisance to the neighbors, and were eventually taken away by the police. Later, with my lawyer's help, we finally finalized our division of property. I was delighted to sever ties with such despicable people. Afterwards, I heard from a colleague that Tyler broke up with Natalia. Now, both Tyler and Natalia are without partners and living in a run-down apartment. As for me, I vowed to find happiness for the sake of my lovely daughter. My name is Emily. Recently, my husband William got promoted, and I sent him a gift to celebrate. I had been feeling something was off about him for a few months, and the day after I gave William the gift, his true colors were revealed. "Hey, why was the gift I gave you yesterday just sitting in the trash? You thanked me for it when you received it yesterday. Didn't you like it?" "Huh? Whatever. Why do you have to check up on every little thing? It's my gift, so I can do whatever I want with it, right? Besides, it was probably some cheap stuff anyway, so I threw it out. So, it looked a bit bulky, but it didn't seem like much. Was it just you trying to suck up because I got a promotion? I really can't stand that about you. I had no idea you thought of me that way. Well, you wouldn't have trashed it like that otherwise, right? But are you sure that was a good idea? Seems like you're the one who's gonna have a problem. You're being too persistent." I said it's fine, so it's fine. The content seemed like paper anyway. You don't mean there was a paper in there worth thousands of dollars, do you? If you're gonna spend money on unnecessary stuff, you might as well spoil me more. Yeah, well, sure. If that's what you think is best. Then, just to be clear, I want you to check what was inside the gift. By the way, you just casually said you can't stand me. Did you mean that, or was it just in the heat of the moment? Man, you're so annoying. I've been saying it all along. Did you seriously think I was truly in love with you? To be honest, I don't need you or our child anymore. I just got married and had a child for social status. Our daughter is already 5 years old, so maybe it's time to live separately. Divorce is a hassle, so let's just live apart. I'm tired of playing the husband and father role. I've made it this far in my career, so I deserve to be free. I'll pay child support, so you guys manage on your own. That's pretty selfish of you, isn't it? Who was it that cried with joy when Olivia was born? Who said they would cherish their family forever? To change your mind so drastically in just a few years is truly frightening. That kind of preaching is exactly what I'm tired of. So, what about the gift's content? It doesn't matter anymore, right? I've already thrown it away. What, you want me to say, oh, it was just some cheap thing after all? That's the kind of annoying stuff I'm talking about. As my wife, you should just listen to what I say. Always contradicting me, saying I'm wrong. Don't you know the phrase respect your husband? You always scold me without considering the time, place, or occasion. Don't you realize that hurts my pride? When I say no to Olivia, it means no for you too. I have to explain it out loud because you don't get it. And about not considering the time, place, or occasion, I do feel the atmosphere. I've thought about staying silent, but everyone's making faces like say something to him. Didn't you feel that? Of course not. What have you been looking at all this time? When have I ever been looked at like that? My promotion is thanks to my hard work and big contracts. It's not just seniority. A person like me wouldn't be annoying to others. You've never really seen me. Oh really? Then you might be happy with what was in the gift. It might have seemed cheap, but it's not worthless to me or you. I can't speak for everyone, but here, open this one. If you still think it's pointless, I'll throw it away. Oh, so you didn't just pick it up. Having two of the same cheap things, huh? Fine, whatever. It's gonna be the same result anyway. We'll see about that.
Huh? What's this doing in here?
What, you mean the photos of you cheating? Don't you recognize your own face? Let me tell you then. In those photos, you're the one drooling over someone else. And I know it's you, we've been together for at least 7 years.
No, that's not what I mean. Why do you have this? This kind of photo should only be known to us.
Oh, so you do remember?
No, it's not like that.
Fine. But seriously, how long are you just gonna stand there? You know the bag with the same stuff is in the communal dumpster, right?
Yeah, you're right. I can't stand here chatting with you. I gotta go now.
With that, William rushed out of the entrance and headed for the dumpster. But it was already too late.
Hey, I will ask the landlord give me back that envelope. I just accidentally threw it out last night, but it actually contains something really important.
Look, the landlord's dumbfounded face. He's frozen because you talked to him. See, he's holding the envelope you threw out and comparing the photos of you and the real you.
Hey, what the hell are you staring at my photos for? Don't look at me. Give it back, now.
That's a terrible way to speak. You're the one breaking the rules, yet you're taking it out on the landlord. Can't believe this. And aren't you embarrassed, making a scene on this busy street?
Me, embarrassed? That's none of your concern anymore, right? After all this, you're still worried about me? You shouldn't care about me anymore. A normal person wouldn't do what you've done.
Yeah, well, a normal husband wouldn't cheat so casually either. And I think a normal husband wouldn't just throw away a gift from his wife, right? You're the one who strayed from normal first. How can you make it sound like I'm the bad one?
Are you nuts? You weren't like this before. You used to be kinder, more considerate. Why did you become so cold?
Hey, I never thought I could be this cruel either. But if you think about it, you'll know why. Maybe things would have been different if you had thought about me a little more.
So, what, you just want to make me the bad guy? Have you ever thought that maybe you're the reason I had to do this? Can you honestly say that you're completely blameless? Don't you ever think that your actions drove me to do this?
What? Are you blaming me now?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm asking if you can honestly say you've done nothing wrong. You're always blaming me. Doesn't Emily have any faults? But I'm the one always getting yelled at, always feeling bad. Don't you think that's unfair?
This is a completely different matter. And you know, trying to make me the bad one? You're the one at fault here. Why did you do this? What about me didn't you like, especially when we have our child? Explain it to me in a way that I can understand. If you're going to blame me, you need to explain yourself first. Don't say you too. I have all the evidence in these photos. Everything in these photos is what you dislike about me. And since you wanted a divorce, I included a lawyer's contact too.
What? You went that far? But you need a witness, right? Who did you ask? Really?
Yeah, really. That's why I gathered all this evidence.
You're unbelievable as a human being.
Huh? Isn't that obvious? I had to tell your mother first, so she wouldn't be shocked. It was faster to have your mom and my mom know it.
Unbelievable. You're not even thinking about what happens to me. I hate your selfishness. Now I have nowhere to go back to. You've just been gathering allies for yourself. Have you ever thought about what happens to me next?
Why should I think about your future? You're the one who did this without thinking. Why can you just shift the blame onto me? You created this situation. And yet, why am I the only one getting blamed? Oops, it's time for me to go to work.
In this situation, how can I go? Think about it. Let's go inside. It's weird to talk about this here. Let's go inside and sort this out.
Why? We've come this far, why go back inside? Let's talk here.
There's nothing else to talk about, right?
All the evidence is here. There is the lawyer's contact. All that's left is for you to agree. It's the natural outcome for you. You wanted a divorce from the start, so just agree happily. Why worry?
Just go inside already.
What happens if we don't? Is there something wrong?
No, not exactly, but...
Then let's just talk here. It's not like it's too cold or hot. All you need to do is agree to divorce amicably. It's not that hard, is it? If you're thinking we can talk this out and rebuild, you're dead wrong. I have no intention of getting back together with you. Honestly, I don't even want to breathe the same air as you inside the house. Talking out here is all I can handle. I've been holding back all this time, so read between the lines.
Stop talking nonsense and let's go back inside. Stop making a fuss. Just listen to me.
Looks like your ride is here. Look behind you.
Good morning, William. Huh? Mary?
Aren't you going to say hi? She's calling your name. Huh? Emily's here too? Good morning. It's trash day today, isn't it? Can't forget about it. When I start living with William, I have to follow the rules, right?
What?
Yeah, Mary. The landlord here is strict about rules. If you don't follow them, you'll get scolded. Right. I'll be careful. But why have you been silent all this time, William? I came all this way. Aren't you going to hold my hand and say good morning like usual?
What's this? Mary, how do you know Emily?
I was planning to keep quiet until you were officially divorced. But Emily said the divorce is happening soon, so maybe it's time to spill the beans. Emily's your neighbor, right? When I posted on social media, hoping you'd get divorced soon, she reached out to me. Since she lives next door, she offered to help with the divorce. So, I sent her pictures of us together, even your sleeping face, loads of them. Ever since Emily told me, I've been looking forward to it. You two talking here means you've heard everything, right?
Why?
That's how it is. I've known who you were all along. This girl openly posted your face on social media, even wishing for a quick divorce. I've never seen someone so lacking in literacy. But maybe that worked in my favor. What? What are you talking about, Emily? Explain it to me in a way I can understand. What's literacy? What worked in your favor? Mary, it looks like the divorce is going to happen soon. Once this guy agrees the divorce, we're all set.
Wow, Emily, that's amazing. I never thought you could make the divorce happen so quickly. Come on, William, you said your wife is boring and only cares about the child. I'm cuter, younger, and her selfishness is adorable as you said. Hold on, Mary.
If I were your husband, I'd have dumped a wife like that in a heartbeat. If I'd been William's wife from the start, I wouldn't have let this happen. I was disappointed when I found out William had a wife, but I was happy when you asked me for private lessons. You prefer me, right? Every time we meet, you say you like me better. So why won't you agree the divorce?
Please, just stop.
Why? You said you'd marry me once you got promoted. You said your salary would increase and we could still have kids. I've been waiting for almost a year. My birthday is coming up. If you plan to propose then, divorce her quickly. I absolutely don't want a half-hearted proposal from a man who's still married. Look, Mary's saying it too, so just agree it already. Mary won't wait forever, you know? A younger, prettier face is better, right? Mary will get older too, and it's better to have kids sooner rather than later. Right? Emily agrees. Look, she's saying it too. You've grown apart from your wife, haven't you? I heard your daughter is already 5. Your wife can manage on her own. She's a nurse, right? She'll be fine. Here, this is the divorce papers with your wife's name. It might be easier for you to make up your mind, Mary. Why don't you have William check it?
Wait. Okay, here you go. William, huh?
What's wrong? The wife's name is Emily. Wait, what? Emily is William's wife? They have the same name?
Stop it. Enough already.
What? What's going on? What's happening here? Watching the two panic, I couldn't help but burst into laughter. That was too funny. Why is Emily laughing? What's so funny? Hey, Mary. You still don't get it? Huh? What? You're beginning to understand but can't put it into words, right? If you say it out loud, you'll have to admit you were deceived.
I've had enough.
Tell me. What have I been deceived about? I'm not just the woman next door, I'm his wife. The unattractive, old lady who only cares about her child. The wife you've been mocking all this time, that's me.
No way.
Didn't you find it strange at all? Why would a neighbor help with a divorce? Collecting photos, what did you think that was for? Didn't you question it even once?
Wait. How could I have suspected that? I trusted you completely.
You chose to trust blindly. Sure, I lied, but you believed it. I never thought it would work this well. I even wondered if you'd take me seriously at all. You both must have thought you had me fooled completely. Thanks to you, I collected the kind of photos William had. You didn't think such photos existed, right? Since they came from the person involved, of course, I knew.
That's awful. You tricked me?
Sounds terrible when you put it like that. But, well, you two are more reprehensible. Who cheats on their spouse knowing they're married? Thankfully, there's a system for people like you. I'll gladly use it.
Don't mess with me. What you did is the worst. Lying so casually. You just said it, right? It's wrong for children to lie, but okay for adults. You teach Olivia not to lie, then what about you? You're doing the opposite of what you preach. You can't possibly think it's only okay for you.
Of course not. I know I'm in the wrong too. But this was the only way. Olivia understands that. Plus, as I showed earlier, your mother and my mother know too.
That's what's so annoying.
Oh well, it doesn't matter anymore. Look behind you.
Huh? Mom. William, you better brace yourself.
And with that, William's mother-in-law appeared from behind and slapped William's cheek.
Ow! Your pain will heal if left alone. It's nothing compared to the suffering Emily and Olivia went through. Do you even realize the awful things you've done? Hey, who's this lady? You're William's mistress, right? You knew he had a family, yet you still got involved. William is at fault for approaching you, but you could have rejected him. That would have spared everyone this pain. Enough, William. Divorce Emily right now. You've seen the divorce papers, right? Divorce her for Olivia's sake and never show your face at our house again. Why? Why are you rejecting me too, Mom? Emily and Mom have given up on me. What am I supposed to do now? I've lost my place to return to. What am I supposed to do? Hey, William. I'm here, aren't I? We can always be together. So just divorce your wife quickly and let's be together. Shut up. It's all your fault for flirting with me in the first place. I was fully aware I had a family. Yet, you're the one who swayed my resolve. Everything is your fault. What? Are you kidding me? If that was the case, you shouldn't have approached me from the start. And what do you mean I flirted with you? That's ridiculous. You're the one who looked at me that way, right? Well, whatever. I'm over it. Do whatever you want. I don't care about you anymore. Bye.
With that, Mary quickly left the scene. Before I knew it, the landlord had also disappeared, leaving just me, William, and his mother-in-law. That's the situation. I've said all I needed to say, so I'm going home now. Oh, William, let me tell you something. Emily has already consulted a lawyer. No matter how much you struggle, there's no escape. Be prepared for that. Come on, Emily, let's go. We need to pack your things. William, go to work. You're an adult. Emily and I will take refuge, so don't expect to see us again. Guided by his mother-in-law, I went back to my apartment to pack my things. Around noon, I received a tearful call from William, who must have gone to the office.
Hey, what should I do? Mary reportedly told my boss that I've been harassing her. It's not true, but I'm about to be investigated. What do you think I should do?
Hey, do you really think I can answer that? This has nothing to do with me anymore. It's a problem between you and Mary. Oh, by the way, I've been blocked, so can you pass a message to Mary? I've reported everything to your family, so make sure to pay child support.
That's awful.
That's how it is, so don't call me anymore. Good luck.
Wait for me.
I hung up the phone mid-conversation and set it to reject further calls. Long time no see. Really, it's been a while, Emily. I'm sorry for all the trouble William has caused. It's okay. It's all settled now, and you're not to blame. I appreciate you saying that. Did you manage to finalize the divorce process? Yes, I managed. William got fired for false accusations by Mary. I thought so. He was ranting about that when he came to our house.
He came over even though you told him not to?
Yes, he did. But I didn't listen to him and called the police and even sprinkled salt on him. That's so like you. Right? What about that woman? Yes, Mary's parents with her came to apologize to me. That's good. Is Olivia doing okay? Thanks to you, she's doing fine. She's managing well even without William. Recently, he's been away a lot, hasn't he? I wonder if Olivia even cares? I think so. Towards the end, she didn't even ask about her father. That's terrible of William, making his daughter feel that way. He used to be a good father, but what can we do now? I plan to live my life facing Olivia properly. I'm sorry for the trouble. But I'm relieved we can meet like this occasionally. If you ever have any trouble with Olivia, let me know. I'll help however I can. Thank you. Olivia still sees you as her beloved grandmother. I'm a doting grandmother, after all. Occasionally meeting with my mother-in-law like this, we share updates and live happily. I keep Olivia's well-being my top priority and plan to continue living that way. Nadia. You're slacking off again. Shoot, it's Kelly. I instinctively try to stand up, but my body won't move. As the sliding door opens, Kelly enters with an angry voice. What are you resting for, being just a daughter-in-law? Kelly strides over to me. Then, she does something unbelievable. She yanks away the cushion I'm sitting on. Huh? I fall back onto the mat as the cushion is pulled away. I instinctively protect my stomach with my hands, but feel a sharp impact on them. It seems Kelly kicked me in the belly as I fell. Get up already. With that nuisance of a belly, I should give you another one. I had given up hope, but someone was watching this situation. The person made Kelly sit down and scolded her sharply. This stupid. Thanks to the person, I was saved. My name is Nadia, and I'm 30 years old, currently pregnant. Despite some health issues due to the pregnancy, the joy of carrying the baby of the person I love keeps me going. Nadia, you okay? If you feel bad, say it right away. Yeah, thanks. Right now, we are on our way to my parents' house to announce the pregnancy. My husband, Tom, is driving and keeps checking on me. Of course, the first person I told about the pregnancy was Tom. When I told him after he came back from work, he was so happy despite being tired.
A boy or a girl? Doesn't matter. Just as long as they're born healthy.
I remember tearing up seeing him get emotional. Will the people we're about to tell be just as happy?
Feeling nervous?
Yeah. A little. Tom smiles at me, and I respond with a faint smile. If we were going to tell my biological parents, maybe I wouldn't be this nervous. It's a bit complicated. I lost my mother when I was young. Since then, my father has been raising my brother and me on his own. It must have been incredibly hard. I love my father so much. So when my brother moved out after getting married, and it was my turn, I worried about leaving my father alone.
Dad, wanna live together?
After discussing it with Tom, I offered this to my father. But his response was unexpected.
You know, I've been thinking of remarrying.
Apparently, he had been close with a woman for a while. And so, I got a new mother. When we arrived at my parents' house, my new mother greeted us.
Hello, welcome.
Mom, long time no see. Though I call her Mom, it feels awkward every time. She became my mother after I moved out, so I've barely met her. And unlike my laid-back father, she always seems strict. To put it simply, she's not easy to deal with. Today, I have something I want you all to hear. Beside my father sat my new mother, and beside me, Tom. After we all sat down facing each other in the living room, I nervously made my announcement.
Oh, what is it? Well, it's still early, but I'm pregnant. Really? Congratulations. That's great.
My dad's face lit up with his usual laugh lines, clearly delighted.
I'm finally gonna be a grandpa. Guess it's about time I got old.
I can't believe I'm gonna be a father. I'm so excited. While Tom and my dad were chatting away happily, I quietly observed my mom's reaction. She was expressionless, hard to read. What was she feeling right now? As I wondered, she suddenly stood up and left the room. Should I follow her? As I hesitated, she quickly returned. In her hands were a thin blanket and a cushion.
Nadia, use these.
But
this room gets surprisingly cold.
Oh, thank you. I felt a bit happy realizing she was concerned for me. Yet, my mom always had a stern look. Was it her cold, business-like demeanor that made her seem unapproachable? A simple congratulations would have made me happier. Maybe then, we could have gotten closer. I was thinking such wishful thoughts. We planned to leave right after the announcement, but my brother and his wife Kelly visited, changing our plans. Tom and I live about an hour's drive from my parents' house. In contrast, my brother and Kelly live just a 5-minute drive away. They often visited on days off, like today. It was an unexpected encounter, but a good opportunity, so I shared the news of my pregnancy.
No way! Darn, you beat me to it. That's frustrating.
I chuckled at my brother jokingly expressing his disappointment. Kelly lightly tapped his head. What are you talking about? First, congratulations. Congratulations, Nadia. Thank you. Kelly had a vibe similar to my mom's. Straightforward and kind, but somewhat intimidating.
But honestly, I'm envious.
We've been trying with no luck. Just getting older over here. At this rate, we'll be old before we know it. I'm only 2 years younger than you. Thanks for the consolation. Kelly sometimes made self-deprecating comments like this. I always find it hard to respond in these moments.
Well, we should probably get going, Tom.
Yeah, sounds good. As we were about to leave, my parents and my brother's family offered to see us out. I felt a bit dizzy, maybe from the pregnancy or just the tension. I needed to be careful not to fall. I was holding on to the handrail for safety when suddenly, I felt a heavy impact on my right shoulder from behind.
Ouch!
I almost stumbled but managed to stay upright thanks to the handrail. Sorry. Nadia. I accidentally tripped and bumped into you. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
It was Kelly who had bumped into me. Tripped? But we were just walking down a straight hallway. Can that really happen? Normally, wouldn't you grab the handrail or the person next to you if you were about to fall? Why would she bump into me, knowing I was pregnant? A chill ran down my spine, feeling uneasy. Sorry. Oh, you don't think I did it on purpose, do you? Don't look at me like that.
It's okay. I'm fine.
I couldn't accuse her without proof. Maybe it was just an accident. With that, we left my parents' house without saying anything else. After getting home, I took some time to think. Maybe I'm being a bit oversensitive because of the pregnancy. I've always gotten along okay with Kelly. There are things about her that I find difficult, but we've never really had a problem. I'm sure that feeling of malice I sensed was just in my head. I tried to convince myself of that. But after that, I started encountering strange things more often, and with each incident, my distrust towards Kelly grew. The first odd thing was about my personal belongings left at my parents' house. Turns out, they were somehow thrown out in the garbage. It was my mom who contacted me.
I found some clothes that looked familiar in the trash. I picked them up, but what do you want to do with them? Can you leave them as they are? I'd like to check them.
Later, when Tom and I went to check, they were indeed my belongings. Both my mom and dad said they would go into my room, but they wouldn't throw anything away without asking.
So, who did? Well, the day before the garbage day, Kelly came over to visit. Oddly enough, she was alone. What?
My heart raced. Previous incidents came flooding back. My mom looked at me silently, then said something as if she had sensed something.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. It's not good to suspect without proof, but maybe you should ask. What will you do? What can I do?
It bothered me. But I didn't want to stir up unnecessary trouble. It's okay. She probably just came over to visit.
All right.
Then, for a while, nothing happened. Fortunately, my pregnancy was going well, and the baby was growing healthy. Before I knew it, I was already 8 months pregnant. By this time, I had entered a stable period of the pregnancy, and my physical condition had improved. Since I hadn't seen Kelly in a while, there were no more troubles. Then one day, my dad invited us over, saying, "Why don't you and Tom come over on your next day off?" He picked a day when there was a big festival near our parents' house. Every year, we gather at our parents' house for this festival. It's a big, noisy celebration with all our relatives. When I told them about your pregnancy, everyone was happy. They said they'd love to see you. But of course, your health is most important. Standing for a long time was difficult with my growing belly. But otherwise, I had no problems. I think we'll go.
Great! Everyone will be so happy.
With Tom's agreement, we visited my parents' house after a long time.
Long time no see, Nadia. Congratulations. Wow, you've grown. This is going to be a healthy, fine baby.
Every relative I met congratulated me. There were relatives I could only see on this day. I was so happy that I moved around more than I should have.
Nadia, aren't you moving too much? Isn't your belly tight?
It was my mom who pointed it out to me, as I hadn't even noticed the tightness in my belly.
Oh, true. It might be a bit tight. Do take care. You're this child's mother, after all.
Mom said sternly, then took my hand and led me to the next room. There was a mattress in that room.
Lie down for a bit. Thank you.
I could hear everyone's voices from the slightly distant room. Lying down, I realized I was more tired than I thought. I felt like I could fall asleep right there. As my head started to get fuzzy and I began to doze off, I felt a light tap on my head.
Huh?
When I opened my eyes, there was Kelly with a stern face.
Hey!
What are you doing here?
Everyone's come to see Nadia, right? Sleeping is just selfish. Come on, get up. But...
Without giving me a chance to refuse, Kelly dragged me out and back to the relatives.
Oh, Nadia! Where have you been?
Surrounded by everyone, I couldn't say I wanted to rest, so I just joined the conversation, forcing a smile. As I moved and stayed standing, I could feel my belly getting tighter again. This wasn't good. I tried to leave several times, but each time Kelly stopped me.
Really? You always try to be alone. Do you dislike everyone that much, Nadia?
Accused like this, there was no way I could leave. I stayed as long as I could, and when Kelly went to the bathroom, I finally escaped to another room. I really wanted to lie down in the room, but I couldn't risk it. I didn't know when Kelly might come back. Struggling to keep my balance, I managed to sit down on a cushion I brought from the room. I sighed quietly. Honestly, I wanted to lie down, but I couldn't risk Kelly finding me. I didn't know what she would say to others if she saw me lying down. She had been subtly putting me down since earlier. This place felt like a battlefield to me. I couldn't let my guard down for a second. Keep it together. But contrary to my resolve, my belly kept getting tighter. It wasn't painful, but I could feel it hardening. I was only 8 months pregnant, not yet at full term. I couldn't afford to give birth now. I didn't want to put any more strain on the baby. But if I rested, who knows what would be said about me? When should I move? What should I do? While I was sitting there, hand on my belly, worrying. Nadia.
Slacking off again.
Shoot, it's Kelly. I tried to stand reflexively, but I couldn't move. With the sound of the sliding door opening, Kelly entered, her voice filled with anger.
What are you resting for? Just being a daughter-in-law.
Kelly strode toward me aggressively. But here in this house, I'm a daughter, not a daughter-in-law. That's what I thought, but the next moment, she did something unbelievable. She yanked away the cushion I was sitting on.
Huh?
The force of the cushion being pulled made me fall back onto the mat. Instinctively, I protected my stomach with my hands, but then felt a heavy impact on them. It was Kelly's foot. She had kicked towards my stomach as I fell. Luckily, her foot hit my hands, so the impact on my stomach was less.
Get up already. With that nuisance of a belly, should I give you another one?
She seemed to have no intention of pretending anymore. I knew I needed to get up quickly. But my heavy belly and the shock of what just happened slowed me down.
You're so slow.
As I was on all fours, Kelly clicked her tongue and raised her foot again.
Stop!
I couldn't react in time. I braced myself for the impact, curling up tightly. That's when it happened.
Stop it!
A loud, authoritative voice echoed in the room. Looking towards the voice, I saw my mother standing there, her expression fierce.
Don't move! You hear me!
My mother walked over briskly and crouched next to me.
Mom! How's your belly? Did you hit your head? Are you okay? Any pain?
Mom, with furrowed brows, checked over my body. Yes. I'm okay. Just scraped my leg a bit, nothing serious.
Show me.
But it's just a little.
Just show me.
I extended my right leg as told. It wasn't a big deal. When I fell, I couldn't break my fall properly because I was protecting my belly, so I just scraped my knee. It was a bit raw, but not a serious injury. I was relieved that the baby was okay. But seeing my reddened knee, Mom's frown deepened.
It looks painful. We need to disinfect it.
It's really not a big deal.
Don't say it's not a big deal. Your body is important. But first.
Mom slowly turned around and glared sharply at Kelly.
Kelly, sit down over there. It's not what it looks like. I was just trying to, you know. Just sit down.
Kelly, sharply ordered by my mom, sat down with a pale face. Mom then took a deep breath and shouted even louder than before.
This stupid.
The air in the room became tense. Startled by the volume of her voice, Kelly shrieked and recoiled.
Kelly, do you realize what you've done? It's not like that. I was just trying to straighten the cushion, and Nadia fell over. Right, Nadia?
Straighten the cushion? That's impossible. Kelly clearly yanked it out. Besides, why would anyone need to straighten a cushion that someone is sitting on? It makes no sense and is totally unnecessary. I responded after a brief pause.
You were trying to straighten it?
Yes. Exactly.
I never expected Nadia to fall over like that. It really surprised me.
Kelly nodded vigorously. There was not a hint of remorse or concern in her expression, rather it seemed like she was insisting she had done nothing wrong. As if it wasn't her fault. Rather, it was clumsy of me to fall. It felt like I could hear Kelly's thoughts. She was planning to get away with it. But I was certain. Kelly had definitely done it on purpose. At that moment, I was terrified. Not just for myself, but for the baby in my belly. The thought of what could have happened if I hadn't protected my belly. If she had kicked me directly, it would have been chilling. I had so much I wanted to say to Kelly, but the words just wouldn't come out. Seeing my struggle, Kelly smirked. Look.
It seems Nadia has nothing to counter with, so let's just end this topic here. We're about to run out of drinks, and I should go check on everyone.
Just sitting there smugly earlier. And now using this as an excuse to escape. Kelly stood up hurriedly. Mom watched silently. She's going to get away. I have to say something. After all that happened, after putting my baby at risk, I couldn't just stay silent. In my panic and confusion, I managed to blurt out.
You kicked me.
Kelly turned back with a startled look.
What are you saying, Nadia? You definitely kicked me, Kelly. Whether pulling the cushion was deliberate or not, I don't know. But you aimed for my belly. Wait, Nadia.
Kelly came rushing towards me, flustered.
Calm down, there must be some misunderstanding. I am calm. It's not a misunderstanding. You definitely kicked me. If Mom hadn't come in, you would have kicked me again. No way I would do that. Shut up. Just be quiet.
Kelly reached out to cover my mouth. I almost staggered, but Mom quickly supported me.
Calm down.
Mom looked up sharply at Kelly. Kelly, who seemed to be weak against Mom, froze, then stepped back a few paces. When Mom quietly said again, "Sit down," Kelly wobbled back to the chair.
I've been listening quietly to both sides, but I never imagined it would come to this. Please believe me. Nadia must be getting overly sensitive because of her pregnancy. She's having delusions.
Kelly burst into tears. Not only was she good with words, but she also knew how to play the emotional card. Meanwhile, I had no evidence, and I struggled to explain myself. When emotional, I found it even harder to speak. Would I just lose to Kelly's claims and end up crying myself to sleep again? Is this how I'm going to live from now on? Tears welled up, and I looked down. Then, I felt a strong movement in my belly. From there, the fetus began to move again. As if the baby inside was encouraging me. Right, I'm going to be a mother. I can't let someone like her have her way. Wiping away my tears, I straightened up and faced forward.
I may be extra cautious for the sake of my precious child. But this is not a delusion. Kelly, you did kick my belly.
Kelly looked at me, her eyes wide. Ignoring her, I continued.
It's not just that. You've been mean to me multiple times. You threw away my clothes, bumped into me, and today, you didn't let me rest. It was awful. And then your actions earlier. If you call all that a delusion, then you're just shameless.
After finishing, I exhaled, and Kelly glared at me, her face red.
Hey! Do you even understand what you're saying? Do you think yelling will silence me? Maybe in the past, but not anymore.
I stroked my belly and looked at Kelly.
For this child's sake, I won't lose to someone who's just good with words and loud. I won't be defeated by a bully. What did you just say?
Kelly's nostrils flared with anger, as if she was about to erupt. But I wasn't scared. I couldn't stay silent anymore.
Come at me if you dare.
At that moment, as I braced myself for a fight, something unexpected happened. My mom burst into laughter. Kelly and I, taken aback, froze. Mom finally calmed down after a deep breath. "A cornered mouse will bite the cat, as they say," she muttered, then coughed softly and looked back and forth between Kelly and me.
Kelly, do you have anything else to say? You can't possibly believe what she's saying. It's all nonsense.
Is that so?
But you know, Kelly, I only believe what I see with my own eyes. Then,
you were resting, being just a daughter-in-law, was it? The words Kelly had hurled at me earlier while snatching away the cushion.
Why would Mom know those words?
I saw everything from the beginning. I was so shocked I could hardly breathe. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and couldn't move immediately. "I'm sorry for frightening you, Nadia." Mom murmured an apology, and I quickly waved my hands, saying it wasn't her fault. Mom had witnessed everything, not just a part but all of it. So in front of Mom, Kelly had been spouting lies. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Kelly's face drained of color. "I had been concerned about Kelly's attitude towards you, Nadia. But without proof and being an old woman, I thought it odd to interfere. I never imagined it would come to this." Even Kelly was speechless.
"I thought I might have to step in, but Nadia, you spoke up well."
"Oh, yes.
That's what a mother looks like. You did great. Just like my daughter."
Mom smiled warmly and nodded in approval. Seeing her gentle smile, I finally relaxed and burst into tears in her arms. Then, Tom, my brother, and Dad were called from the other room for an emergency family meeting. As a result, we decided to cut ties with Kelly. Mom would coordinate our visits to ensure we wouldn't cross paths. My brother, upon learning the truth, turned pale and repeatedly apologized to Tom and me. It turns out, Kelly's behavior stemmed from jealousy. She was upset that I was pregnant while she couldn't conceive. I couldn't forgive her, but I did feel some sympathy. Later, I gave birth safely. Tom cried with joy and stayed at the hospital every day. He quickly got used to taking care of everything except breastfeeding. Though it was a struggle up to the birth, I knew the real challenge was just beginning. Mom and I became much closer after that incident. I knew I had everyone's support. With their help, I want to raise our baby well.